partly factual and partly imaginary anecdote, rather an incident. I said partly it is factual because some of the facts are right, but some facts may not be completely right, and hence I said it is partly imaginary also. So during Kargil war, there was also a report that the government, the then government, did have the information of the intrusion of Pakistani soldiers into Indian territory well in advance, but still it delayed the war. It did not immediately get into the operation, but it also wanted to reap political harvest because elections were also around the corner, and hence it delayed its operation, which also cost quite a few lives for India. So suppose if somebody is a media professional, so what does one do? So suppose as a media professional, if you have the information with you during the war, would you publish or would you broadcast, or would you hold back the information? So if you publish whatever information you have during the war, let us say if your quote unquote your national interest is at stake, the soldiers of the Indian state may be demoralized, but at the same time your readers or viewers have the right to know. So as communication professionals, there could be many such dilemmas faced every day, at the same time, especially during, again, quote unquote, a national crisis. So what will you really uphold? And of course, as all of us know, there is a very close connection between media and international relations, media and politics. So media cannot exist without politics, and politics cannot exist without media. In a democracy, if we consider media as the purveyors of a reasoned, informed debate, which is very essential for a democracy, then media and politics, coverage of international relations, they go hand in hand. Now the word terrorism, possibly in 21st century, terrorism as an ism, it has acquired much more significance than any other ism, be it communism or socialism. And the famous phrase that was used by Margaret Thatcher a long back, which accused the media of providing oxygen of publicity. That was a very famous phrase used at that time by her. So this oxygen of publicity that would be provided for, again quote unquote, terrorists, that would lead to greater problem. So that was her position. So then how do media cover terrorist issues? So that is a challenge. Because possibly you would have discussed this phenomenon of a terrorist being a freedom fighter in somebody else's context. So for Indian state, for Indian government, so those who are fighting in Kashmir are terrorists. But for Kashmiris or for those who are actually agitating there, so they are not terrorists, but they are freedom fighters. So Pakistan doesn't treat them as terrorists, but as freedom fighters. So how do we define terrorism? And a person who is considered to be a terrorist in one place need not be a terrorist in another place. So, as a media professional, so now how do we cover this entire phenomenon of terrorism? Let me also try to theorize a little bit with certain case studies based on secondary sources, of course, not a primary study, but secondary sources. So in the context of India and Pakistan, there is an absolute element of mutual suspicion. Pakistan doesn't believe India and India doesn't believe Pakistan, which is also reflected in the coverage of media. So taking for instance Kashmir as an issue, so there is a study conducted, a study of two important Indian newspapers, Hindi newspapers. One is Dainik Jagaran and the other one is Amar Ujala. Of course, the study primarily chooses Hindi newspapers because English language press is supposed to be more secular, of course, but Hindi or any language press for that matter, which has a direct bearing on the life of Indians, which also has lot of or significant readership, because Dainik Jagaran and Amar Ujala put together has about 3 million readership. And the study also takes two Pakistani newspapers, one Sindhi newspaper and the other one Urdu newspaper from Pakistan, into consideration. It's interesting to note that the perception, the threat perception in Indian media is almost similar to the threat perception in Pakistani media. These two newspapers, so they almost articulate the view of the Hindu right, and the much repeated statement that all Muslims are not terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims. So that is the viewpoint of the Hindu right, which is also articulated by these two newspapers, with their repeated editorials and